Reactor online. Sensors online. Weapons online. All systems nominal.
Alright guys, welcome to War Room episode number 29. 29, it's 29 tonight. Alright, tonight we have a highlight on the SiG Invitational, and then we are going to go over the latest changes made in the last patch. Jump jet stuff, matchmaker stuff, all that terrific, all those terrific things. But first, as always, let's introduce our guests, some old and new faces, starting with Siri.
My name is Zerothrax, and I am surrounded by assholes.
That's so mean.
What? I was solo queuing all day.
To be fair, you're actually on part of the overlay where you're not actually surrounded by anybody. So, although you are in the middle on TS, so you could be. We'll just leave it alone. And then a new member to the show, Lego. Introduce yourself.
Alright, well, my name is Lego Pirate. I play for SiG. I do things. I'm also one of the head tournament admins for the Invitational, which is what we'll be spending some time talking about today.
Indeed. And then below you, we have Mr. Heimdallite, back from a run.
Hi, I'm Heimdallite from House of Words. And thanks for having me on again, Rockwell.
No problem, man. Always good to have you. And Versinix with a beer to his lips, as always.
Yeah, Versinix, second command of the 228th IBR, and I guess my current community achievement is I am the rule writer for the future MWO Net Battletech.
Ah, I didn't even know about that. Congrats, man. Alright. So, to start things off tonight, so we have quite a bit of stuff to get through, but first of all, we're going to start off with the Invitational stuff, because the Invitational has actually already been started, and I think some of you guys have actually, I think, Lords and SGR, you guys have played games already, haven't you?
One, yes.
Yeah.
So, already in full swing, we've already gotten some games under our belt, but we're having Lego here tonight. We're doing a nice spotlight for the Invitational, so everybody can figure out a little bit what it's about and everything like that, and then we'll move on to the meaty patch notes. So, Lego, why don't you give us a quick overview of the Invitational?
So, basically, it's a double elimination tournament. The invites were done based upon, whoever we felt were just good competitors and things like that. Like, good teams, solid teams not that were new, but, like, teams that had been around, kind of knew what they were doing. So, that's how we did that. Other than that, it's relatively straightforward. We don't have a prize or anything because we're all poor and cheap, but it is what it is. We've had some pretty good matchups so far, so it's been pretty good. The match last night, actually, QQ vs Blackthorns was really good.
I'll have to go watch it. I didn't get a chance to check it out. So, what role were you guys trying to fill with this tournament? Because it's sort of an interim tournament, but I know you guys had you and Jin are behind it, correct?
Yeah, me and Jin basically, back when we were in the Remnant, that's why it was the Remnant Invitational originally, but we're basically, we're playing Dota, I think, and we're like, it sucks that Merrick and Arhad are both ending at the same time, and, what's the Remnant going to do for 2 months while both leagues are inactive? And then he's like, yo, why don't we start up a tournament? And I'm like, alright, let's start up a tournament. And it's just, give everybody something to do in the downtime, because we feel that, if you're not playing, you're getting worse. So the only way to get better is to keep playing, and less downtime means you're getting better all the time.
Yeah, killer. I completely agree. And so, obviously, the last Invitational was over around Christmas time, correct?
Yeah, it basically ran from the beginning of December, I think, all the way through the end of January was the last couple games. So
Gotcha.
it ran 2 months, and this one should run roughly something similar. We're hoping to shorten it down, but as most people should know by now, we're extending the current week an extra week because a lot of teams can't play for July 4th. So
yeah, it's a holiday strewn week. So then, so what's changed from the original Invitational to this iteration of it?
I think the biggest changes were last season. Obviously, we didn't have private lobbies, and that's kind of the biggest change. So we moved it from a best of 5 to a best of 7, which I think it's actually kind of starting to show some dividends. Like I was saying, the series last night was pretty intense. Intense games all the way through, and hopefully, as we see more teams, the better teams kind of climb up and start playing each other, we'll see some really intense series. And the other thing is we have a map order, which pretty much most leagues do now, but it basically allows us to either avoid really bad maps like Frozen City Day. I'm basically just not going to use because I know lots of people have FPS issues with it, and yeah, just keeping it as well balanced as I can.
Is Terra Therma in the rotation?
It is.
I like that map. You
But
can shut up, Siri. It's a good map.
It's Conquest.
Yeah, it's Conquest, so it's not as bad, which is why I left it in. If it was, that's the other change we made, actually, was we made it Conquest only with no strikes instead of, we had like a roll system last season, so.
Killer. And then I guess I've been having a ton of fun with the best of 7 series. I think versus our Monday game actually went to 7, didn't it?
6.
6. Okay. Yeah. So I'm liking the long series. It's fun, especially with private lobbies now. You can get it done pretty quick, so it's enjoyable. Okay. Anything else you want to mention about the Invitational before we move on to this slew of patch note stuff we have?
I kind of want to know how he did the seeds. It's a very controversial topic lately.
Oh.
I mean, it was basically, honestly, it's just my perceptions of how I felt teams were performing at a given moment. I don't think they're all that controversial, personally, because I think most of the seeds speak for themselves. But, I mean, we did see Blackthorns just take out QQ, which was a higher rated team, so it's not perfect by any means.
I was just joking about the process of seeding itself.
Yeah, it's always a crapshoot. I mean, plus everybody's still got their jimmies rustled about the PGI tournament.
Well, you gotta.
I do have to say that. Go ahead, Heim.
No, I was just saying that you might have upsets. Teams play different, depending on the environment or, how much they practiced before or how active they were. So Blackthorns kind of seemed like the underdog there. It happens. It's good. It's good that kind of stuff happens, though.
Yeah, I mean, Blackthorns, they came into this season of Merrick, they were a tier 4 team, and I mean, QQ has been playing better lately, and they just took out what basically like a legit T2 team, so, that's the improvement we like to see.
Yeah, I do have to say, though, that I did like overall the way that the seeding was, where like the higher tiered teams got the bye, and then we got to kind of like go right after or fight the winners of something instead of just having us smack a team down right at the beginning and throw a bunch of people into the losers bracket right off the bat. I thought that was kind of a nice, smooth, point. And I do agree with Heim that we played HHO or not Golden Kashyyyks, sorry, and they brought a completely new strategy that we played against them every single week, 1 to 2 times for the last like 4 months in Merrick. And they brought a strategy we had never seen them bring, and it caught us off guard for a match, and they snuck a win out of us for it. So it was very cool.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far. Okay, well, I guess in that case, the only thing left to do is plug the Invitational itself. Everybody should check out the games. We've got a few good ones coming up next week. I think I'm actually... Siri, you play SWK on Tuesday, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. if I think we have a match against Lords either Monday or Tuesday, and if it's Monday, I will try and cast your match on Tuesday. So we'll get some good coverage of the Invitational coming up. It'll be fun.
To correct that really quick, I think because of the weekend and stuff, we are going to try and use the extended week to try and maybe schedule something else. But I
later?
can't guarantee the Monday or Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't
have to talk with Panic about it. Yeah.
I don't do the scheduling. It's all good. Well, either way, I'm gonna try and get some invitational matches casted, because with the best of 7 series, it can make for longer game, or it can make for a longer match and a lot more fun. So hopefully.
Yeah, and also like with the fact that you know what map's coming up and you know what weight's coming up, you can make specific drop decks. Like we've seen lots and lots of teams just run cap strats on Therma, for instance. So.
Yeah,
and build strats to counter that because you expected it to happen. That's what happened with us. We're like, they're gonna go for caps. All right, everyone bring Cap Excel.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the element that I think the game's really been missing, is that counter gamesmanship. Is where you can actually counter, what you think the other team's gonna bring.
Yeah, it's been fun so far. I'm excited to see sort of how it plays out. Okay. On to the larger portion of the show, which is the patch notes. Okay, so we were going to start.
And here comes the groan.
We were going to start out with matchmaking, but we're going to leave that till last.
Never mind. Not
because Siri has informed me that he has a lot to say on the topic and will be taking up at least an hour of the show. We'll be going till 2 in the morning. It'll be incredibly long. No, that is one of the more meatier topics. So we're going to leave that one till last, and we're going to start out with just mentioning the quick UI changes. I really enjoyed them, personally. We've, like, the big save button. I know a lot of people were complaining about the checkout feature, and I was like, it doesn't really matter, but okay, whatever. And then, escape key. Dude, who's a fan of the escape key?
Haven't used it yet.
Oh,
I think the biggest thing is the cancel in the middle of the screen now instead of off to the left.
I was going to say the mech select in group, because it makes refilling modules and stuff like that. If you're just, I mean, if you were a heartless bastard and you were playing 12-mans with, a bunch of your friends, and you decided, we're not crushing hard enough, let's use Erardi, Siri, Heimdallite. I mean, it would make it a lot easier to refill your modules if you were just literally rolling people while talking to them and making fun of them. It's okay. I mean, fucking 7 people on my team that game did less than 100 damage.
Oh, dude.
For those of you who don't know the story, well, and I'll
save it for the matchmaker.
Okay, yeah.
Save it
We'll
for the
move on.
matchmaker.
Okay. So,
because I think we all have those stories.
Oh God. Okay.
In the meantime, just accept the fact that Raffle is slightly bitter, and we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, what am I not bitter about? Okay, so some good UI changes. Let's do weapon changes next for the clan weapons, because they balance a bunch of the clan weapons. I know that there's not a ton we can talk about with that, but we'll mention it anyways. So, clan LRMs got a heat scale increase, LBXs got a spread decrease, and then we've got so then clan LB2, AC2, UAC2, and IS2 cooldown set to 0.72, down from 0.8. Increases rate of fire by a little bit. The real one that I noticed was the small laser change, which is small laser damage reduced from 5 to 4, but clan's small laser range increased from 180-360 to 200-400. Now, Siri, you were a really, really big proponent of the small laser before. How do you feel about these changes?
It's still really fucking good.
It really is. It's definitely not as good as it was before, but if nothing else, the increased range makes it slightly more viable, even with the reduced damage.
It makes it more viable when it was already perfectly viable already. The damage, well, it hurts, like 20% damage loss, but it's still 4 damage. A Nova doing it is 24 followed by 24. That's more burst than pretty much anything you can get. And its heat efficiency is still stupendously good with only 2 heat for that damage. I said this before, but the best heat efficiency for most lasers is 1.25 to 1.3. And even after this latest, the small laser is still up at 2 damage per heat, with 200 meter range now.
As always, there are trying to be changes made to pulse lasers to make them more viable. Clan small pulse laser damage increased from 3.4 to 4.4. Medium pulse heat increased from 5 to 5.5. Medium pulse laser duration reduced from 1.1 to 0.9. I still don't use pulse lasers, I'll be honest.
I can't understand what they're doing with the small pulse laser. The clan, like, it's still less damage than an ER small. So
No, it's
why would
more
you?
now.
The
Oh, it is.
ER small.
Yeah, now it's more.
Is 4 damage.
Oh,
now.
because it's
Oh,
4
yeah,
now
they
instead of
dropped
5.
it
Right,
small.
right.
But it's, I mean, double the tonnage. You can, I don't know.
It's better than it was. I still wouldn't. Like, what is it? 180 meter range as well?
Yeah, I mean,
it's
so-
think about it. Why would you take a small pulse over a clan medium, which is basically an Innersphere large laser?
Duration. But it's the small pulse, I feel you're right, it's still lacking. The medium pulse, though, has gotten pretty damn decent. I was running a 6 medium pulse Stormcrow, and the pulse is at 0.9 duration. 6 of them is 44.3 alpha, and so that's basically a 9 medium laser hunchback with 400 meter range and a slightly shorter duration.
So you get the snapshots out a lot quicker, and not only that, but you're 5 more tons than a hunchback, so you have a little bit more armor, so just in case.
And you're further away, much further away.
Yeah, with the range, definitely.
Like, once you add in the 1-ton targeting repeater, it's 410 meters, and that just opens up so much more space to get your shots with.
And
So,
yeah, I mean,
medium pulse I really like on the Stormcrow.
oh really? Okay.
Yep.
That's I honestly I guess I just have like a bad taste in my mouth with pulse lasers just because they've never really been great. They've never been like awe-inspiring or anything like that. So I've never used them. It's always been, you know, mediums or ballistics or PPCs. So
I don't know. The Innersphere large pulse is actually pretty strong, but I mean, who uses Innersphere stuff anymore, right?
everybody
it's more
that
a question
everybody
of-
that plays in tournaments can't do anything else.
I was
It's
gonna
more of a
say,
question of who uses lasers when you have PPCs and Gauss. So,
Yeah. What were you gonna say, Heim?
with all the changes and the clan stuff that comes out, for example, you can't use clan mechs in the tournaments or anything, so you get like these things like the Innersphere SRM buff, and what ends up happening is competitive play changes in the comp scene, but it doesn't really change in pugs. So, you know, you really have to pay attention to competitive play in general to make note of those changes, because it's a different environment in competitive play than it is in a pug.
And man, that SRM change is huge. I mean, I haven't refitted any of my IS mechs yet, to be completely honest. But I've been running the 6 or no, sorry, the 5. Holy God, that thing is strong. It reminds me of the old Splatcat. Like that old Splatcat where you would walk up to an Atlas and the Atlas would just wet itself because it was like, well, I'm totally dead now. Like, SRMs are pretty good again. I'm pretty happy about it. We spent 20, 26, 27 episodes of this show talking about how much SRMs needed to be fixed, and then when they do get fixed, we barely talk about it.
The Griffin with like 4 SRM 6s is whew, just fly around the map blowing people up. It's pretty glorious.
Maybe I'll finally master my Griffins.
So when like you have the clan SRMs got the impulse value reduced now. So
Yeah, that's
in
actually the last clan change, is that SRM 2s and 6, the impulse value was reduced from from 0.192 to 0.11. I don't know how big impulse values get, so I don't know if that's a big change or if that's a itty bitty change.
well, the question is that less than IS or is it the same?
Identical to IS now, I think.
Okay, so they were out of line before.
Yeah, I think they like used an old iteration of IS or something.
Yeah.
What worries me is when you have these weapons in the game, and for example, what Paul or whoever else is doing weapon balancing or whatever's going on, they look at the telemetry and they see that these weapons are performing these weapons, and we just saw a clan mech weapon pass, which doesn't have much effect on inner sphere weapons, but what I'm worried about is them balancing the game, you know, with these clan weapons in it and adjusting inner sphere weapons, and it affects competitive play for us because we don't have the clan tech or clan mechs in competitive play.
Well, and so
So
part of that that is a problem is that we don't know. So they know what the plan for community warfare is, and that's down the line a couple months or whatever, however long. I haven't been paying attention lately, honestly. But so they have a plan for that. So they know how the clan versus IS or IS versus clan, or whether or not it's going to be mixed tech for those fights. They know how that's going to play out. So they have that idea in mind while doing balancing, and we don't. So that means that we're gonna. Sorry, go ahead, Siri.
I'm just going to be a cynic and say I do not think they have it that far planned ahead.
I think they have a general idea about whether or not they want to do clans versus IS, or whether or not they want to do like mixed clan IS. Like that's a pretty basic step, dude.
There was I thought there was a tweet that was released where he did say that it would be clan versus inner sphere, and then he also did confirm that mercenaries could only use inner sphere mechs.
That's
which
right, because it was something like
not happy about.
It was something along the lines of everybody's worried about mixed tech battles, and that is not the intention of like the fights coming up or something like that. So
well, Paul did a post on MWO Mercs where he specifically stated that the whole mixed tech was not something that they planned on having for much longer.
Yeah, okay, so that's the thing that I think is something that we in the competitive scene are going to have to abide by, because that means that if the tech is always going to be split like that, that means it's going to be balanced to be split. It's not going to be balanced to be together. So if we're going to use clan mechs in a tournament scenario, we have to be using all clan mechs versus all IS mechs, because that's, I feel like, how the weapons are going to be balanced.
But I mean, clans are so incredibly broken right now. We're so far from that.
But they're not though. Like think about a 3-3-3 clan, or sorry, 4x3. Got to get in the habit of saying that because it's so much easier. Think about a 4x3 comp with clans versus IS. What are you thinking as an IS player in that situation? What are you gonna go for?
I mean, obviously, at this point, you're gonna go, Dragon Slayer, Cataphract, Shadowhawk, right?
Right.
It's pretty standard.
So what wins you that fight?
As a clanner?
No, as an IS like so if clans are broken, what wins you that fight as an IS player?
I mean, I think we've only had clans for like a couple weeks. We haven't really seen a meta evolve from them yet. We know the Timberwolf is, bar none the best mech in the game. Other than that, I mean, I think we'll see people come up with stuff, and it's going to become apparent sooner or later the clans are just way off base. I mean, they're better than in tabletop, but...
So the only mode that I can think of where I think clans have a clear advantage is Assault. I think that Assault gives clan mechs just a base advantage where they would be better off because they're slower.
That's because your dire wolves can be brought and don't have to trek halfway across the map.
With the exception of the Mad Cat, and the Nova is really good. But like with the exception of the Mad Cat, none of their mechs are really like that outclassing other mechs. The Nova is super good.
Stormcrow beats the 4B hands down.
Yeah, the Stormcrow is way better than pretty much any non-Shadowhawk medium. The Masakari is faster and more hard-hitting than any Inner Sphere Assault that's not a sniper. It's...
How fast does the Masakari go? Speed to?
71.
71. Victor is...
Yeah, it trucks like a heavy mech.
Victor is 68, right?
75.
On the engine.
The Boar's
75
Head,
with a 340.
The Boar's Head can go 69 kph.
Yeah,
with AC-20 6 medium lasers.
Shut up, guys.
Oh, man.
You don't even know. Haim's got the facts. No, so I just think that So like on a game of Conquest, clans just lose because IS have mechs that can do 150.
I mean, I don't think they just lose though, because yeah, you're going to get the cap lead initially with Innersphere Lights, but at the same time, Clan Mad Cats and all of Clan weapons can basically shoot from one end of the map to the other, so they could pretty much just take you out.
That's true.
I don't think it's as simple.
I think it needs more testing, but I think that strict clan versus IS, I don't think it's as unbalanced as everybody thinks it is, purely because of the way that the different types of mechs work. Like, sure, your mechs do a lot more damage.
It's going to be its own meta.
Yeah.
I have a counter argument.
It's got to be its own meta. I mean, I've seen I have 1 or 2 guys in 228, and the numbers and the kills and just the overall power that they bring in a Shadowhawk with the SERMs now, the 2K with the 3 Meads and the SERMs, like, you wouldn't think that that thing could really do anything. And it's just miraculous what they walk out of.
I have a counter argument for you.
I would be glad to hear it.
How many clan mechs are there?
Right. There are 8 clan mechs.
And if you had the first 8 IS mechs, how good would it be?
I don't remember the first 8 IS mechs. I think it was Jenner,
Hunchback, Centurion,
Jenner, Hunchback, Centurion, Catapult, Atlas, Dragon, Stalker, Commando?
Awesome. No
awesome.
Stalker.
Awesome Commando. True.
So, as more clan mechs are released, our problem is going to get worse because there is going to be an optimized choice for whichever style is dominant. That's the luxury the IS has now.
Yeah, once like the Ice Ferret and the Viper come out, I think the Clan Light or the Innersphere Light advantage goes away. I mean, the Executioner isn't going to matter, neither is the Gladiator, but with those mediums that go, 130 before tweak, those will pretty much be light mechs.
Yeah, I think that it can be balanced in that situation between IS and clans. I think trying to balance mixed tech games is just a crapshoot. But,
I mean, it's tough to say because we haven't really seen even any mixed tech games because nobody allows you to use clans in their league.
That's true. Maybe that's what I'll do for the show match. I'll try and get like.
Well, there's just not enough weight differentiations of the clan mechs. I mean, we only really have 8 clan mechs that you'd have to base a weight off of if we did a weight type.
You can just do class matchmaking and call it a day.
Just do class, yeah, it'd be fine.
But I'm just saying, I mean, that was a big thing that we all built in all of our leagues, was there were weights, and at least as of right now, that's not something reasonable for clan.
I mean, honestly, just 9 Timberwolves plus whatever and call it a day.
Damn it.
Force people to bring adders.
I want to see the 12 Nova drop. But then the game will lag out, so it doesn't matter. Okay, got a little bit off topic, but that was a good discussion. So that's it for the guns changes, according to my notes. Somebody mentioned targeting computer, actually, and I want to ask about that, because I haven't had the time or will to put a targeting computer on any of my mechs yet. How is it?
The 1 ton is a shoo-in. Just for anything, just based on how they did the friggin' crit chance. The 7.5% listed crit chance is additive, not multiplicative, to the base crit chance of your weapon. And so the base crit chance is 42. So a 1 ton improves your crit chance to 49.5%.
So basically every other shot's critting.
Wow.
And if you're shooting 2 weapons, that means one of them's next to guaranteed to crit.
And if you have,
so for 1 ton, you're getting 18% more crits.
12 ER smalls and 4 machine guns, then you're just critting out.
It doesn't affect machine guns.
Oh, it doesn't affect machine guns? Okay.
Not to mention the like range increases, the projectile speed increases, and like those are pretty big things.
The target
in the only one I really noticed was the
Heim's webcam is like a teenager on Instagram. It's like it's switching through filters. It's like randomly you're a
saw
little
that.
bit green, and then you're a little bit blue, and then it's like really dark, like you're in black and white. It's really weird.
I have no idea why that's happening.
So have any of you even bothered trying the 7-ton one?
Not worth it.
I put
yes.
5 ER larges on a Musakari with a 7-ton, and like it's kind of cool that you can shoot 1900 meters to do damage, but 7 tons I could just put more heat sinks. It wasn't really worth it.
Okay.
It's an entire another PPC basically, and a heatsink.
So then, you think that the first one is just a must-have? Like every clan mech should be running it?
If it can, yes.
There's literally no reason not to have one, pretty much. Like, it affects enough weapons that even if it's just for the info gathering, it's good enough.
And the other thing is that additional crit chance is actually additional damage because of the crit damage transfer now. Which I still think is kind of a silly mechanic, but it's a thing.
Yep. What do we think about the command console?
Dead weight, still.
For
Still
3
lame.
tons, yeah, that's not really giving you much benefit. When most builds, 3 tons becomes quite a lot when you begin to min-max them and try and optimize them.
Oh yeah,
You
I mean
want
that's
an extra 3 tons, and I don't think
that's
it's
a heat
worth
sink and a
putting
jump jet on
command
an assault
console
mech.
in. Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't do enough for 3 tons worth of stuff.
So then, I mean, let's do this pretty briefly so that we can get on to the matchmaker, because I know that that's a huge point of contention for a lot of people. Let's go around. What would you do to make the command console really worthwhile? We're just gonna. I'm gonna ask everybody. So Siri, where do you want to go last? Because you like to formulate your opinions and sound really smart. Versi, go first.
Well, mine was simply just stop trying to shoehorn it in until you can do like something actually significant with it.
Fair. Lego, do you have any opinion?
Honestly, I think trying to make it an inner sphere TC is just a waste of time. So better off, like, I don't know, making it mandatory to use strikes or something like that, because it's not ever going to be worth it as far as targeting computer type stuff is going to go.
Mm-hmm. Heim.
I could tell you where I do not want it to go. I do not want it to end up as a 13th person on the field like a drop commander. I think that would be
Awesome! That'd be awesome!
That'd be cool.
Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Wait,
It
but
allows
actually
you to
though, I
use
want to
that
know.
third-person camera.
I want to know
Flyer.
why. I want to know why you don't like that.
Well, I don't know. I guess personally, I come from competitive FPS video games where, like, communicating with 11 other people really isn't that difficult if you know those people and you're on the same page with them. You're a team. You practice together. I don't think you should be making having a 13th person who's not in the fight making those kind of calls, because it's extremely hard to get a detailed readout on every single entire mech on your team. Like, what if someone has a crit left torso and they have an XL engine? There is so much going on at once that it's like, I think the game and teams are better off with this team of leaders philosophy rather than relying on one person to make all these calls. I just think there's no amount of prescience you could give a 13th person that would be fair and make sense in the current game. That's the only reason.
I don't know if anybody remembers this, but back in like StarCraft 1, if all your Terran units, like, you could see little parts of them get damaged as they got more hurt. You could do something like that where it's basically like an RTS style layout for it, and then just, have them control like an airplane or something. I don't know.
Personally, what I have always wanted from the command console is the ability to remotely, out of line of sight, drop air arty.
See, that's kind of cool.
I would pay the shit out of 3 tons on an Atlas to be able to be walking to the last cap point on the map as completely stripped with only my air arties left and see it flash red and be like, fuck you, any mech on Theta, and just like click on it.
Or,
would
you know,
be...
just make it a requirement for dropping air arty in the first place.
No, that's stupid, because then what do clans do? Why do well, so that...
Not get
Clans
air arty.
don't believe in direct.
First off,
or
why do
indirect
clans
fire.
have arty is the first question, which will be an entire episode. But I
Well,
mean,
you could still give it to them. Just make it enable air arty.
then you give the clans a version of it, or you make...
Yeah, basically.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I don't think arty is that bad of a... I think arty is a pretty fun tool, to be completely honest, so I don't want to see it get nerfed that hard. But I think the... I mean, would you pay 3 tons to be able to drop arty anywhere at any time, regardless of line of sight?
I would pay 3 tons to be able to drop arty in the first place.
Okay. That concludes the targeting computer and command console
Almost.
discussion. Oh, more point.
Last thing to point out. The biggest one is 7 times heavier, 7 times as many crit slots, 3 times as effective.
So
as
you're
the
saying
one-time.
that the Tech 1 needs to be scaled down to a 7th of the Tech 7? Or that the
Yeah,
Tech
like
7
the-
needs to be scaled up?
Preferably the Tech 1 scaled down.
Okay.
But
I
the
mean,
I
gains
agree.
should be exponential to the size. Right now, they're diminishing returns.
even if
Yeah.
you do that, though, I don't think it would matter because nobody's going to commit 7 tons. Realistically, you're going to use 1 or 2 no matter what the 7-ton one does, unless it's pretty much game breaking.
You would have to make the value of basically another weapon. So, another heavy weapon at that.
Yeah, it's got to be like, you know, a UAC5 kind of effectiveness, not just like, oh, a little bit of extra damage, I guess.
Right, and what kind of mechs can equip 7 tons and 7 slots without punishing the rest of their loadout? It's really only heavies and assaults, it seems, right?
Not even, it's pretty much just the Masakari and Direwolf. Neither the Summoner nor the Timberwolf have the tonnage, really.
Timberwolf could. Kind of.
Timberwolf can do anything, we just need to accept that.
Yeah.
All hail
God damn it.
Timberwolf.
Okay, anything else on that?
Nope.
Alright. That means it's matchmaker time. And to start off matchmaker time, I'm going to tell my matchmaker story.
Is
So-
it story time?
It's story time.
Oh, dude, I love story time.
It's my favorite time.
Wait.
What time
Wait a
is
moment
it?
Here.
Could it be story time?
Adventure time.
Okay, so I want you to
If I
picture
can
a bright-eyed Raffle Waffle. He had hair, he was young, he was happy.
Porn stash.
Yeah, god damn it. He loads up MechWarrior after the patch, he's excited. He gets into a group with 4 of his friends, and he's dropping, and he's having fun, he's playing his clan mechs. He's not worrying about the match he has later in the night, it's gonna be fine. And he messages his buddy, he messages Seriothrax, he's like, hey man, how do you like the new matchmaker? I've had some really fun 3-3-3-3 games. And Siri's like, you know, I'm dropping 12s with Lords right now. I'm crushing nerds. It's just me versus the world, man. All these 4-mans, they don't have anything on me. And bright-eyed, bushy-tailed Raffles, he's like, this is great. This is funny. Good for you, Siri. Lol, have fun. 2 minutes later, search goes to connecting. Raffle loads into a game. Raffle and his 4-man, Alpha Lance. The 8 names below him, unrecognizable. Elo so low that they could be minors. On the other team, Seriothrax, 11 lords. Raffle
Oh,
cries.
no.
Raffle cries.
Raffle, no.
Seven of his teammates do less than 100 damage. Raffle
Don't forget
becomes
the bit where
They try.
Raffle is killed by Seriothrax.
Oh, that's the best. You should highlight.
Raffle dies to his friend. Dies horribly. Does top or second to top damage. No kills. Only 2 lords die. Raffle's team loses.
Which lords died?
Raffle is bitter. I don't know. Defunct and Titan got the kills. That's my matchmaker story, guys. That's my matchmaker story.
I can tell the story about who died.
Oh, it was
Wispsy
Wispsy
at the start.
and
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Was admiring the camo, the new shiny tournament-winning camo on his dragon. So he went third-person view, and he went to the pass on Crimson. and he got to the pass, and he was done admiring the camo. So he went first-person view, and asked, "Where the fuck are the rest of you?" Then he died.
Oh, that's right. There's no mini-map in third person.
I think we said that over comms to him too, and we were making fun of it.
Yeah, so that
Oh
that honestly is like my first experience with 12v4 matchmaking, or like 12v4 man matchmaking, and I like the concept of the new matchmaker, but it's a little bit flawed, and so we'll get to that. I have a list of 4 questions to ask you all. I spent time on this. Okay, so first of all, dropping in pugs or in groups, how have you guys felt with the new matchmaker?
I think queue times I've noticed are way shorter than they used to be.
Yep. It's like back in the old days in 8-mans where you could get, you could actually get like 4 games in an hour.
I think those queue times, they even mentioned it in the post. They were going to be tightened later on, or they were going to eventually adjust themselves, or maybe I misinterpreted, but I mean, I think all of us noticed that the elo was really not something that was being accounted for nearly as heavily as it was previously.
Okay, so I saw Homeless Bill's post on Reddit, and my instant reaction was, thank God I thought I became a scrub overnight. Because I hadn't seen anybody I knew in like 10 games. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, am I just awful now? Like, what happened?
I have never heard so many obscenities out of Ed Meister's mouth than after he played a couple games in the solo queue.
Dude, so he was the original
it's
person that
brutal.
was going to take your spot, but he had like family stuff. And it literally is because he came in channel and was like, this is fucking bullshit. Like, fuck this matchmaker. Like, Ed is a really calm dude. Like, except for like hating losing, Ed is very calm, and he was pissed. So that tells you something about it. But yeah. So, but I mean, I have had a lot of fun in the solo drop games I've had. The group queue has been where it's been a little bit of a trouble. Is where I've had trouble. Has that been the experience for you guys?
I mean, very similar to the story you told us, the Marvelous story. It's just like you drop into the group queue and it's either absolute nobody's everywhere, or you come up against, it's like your little 4-man against the 12-man and they get wrecked. I don't know.
I've seen more one-sided matches in the last 2 days than I have in the last 2 months.
I think we had
in group
one
queue or
close
in
game.
solo queue?
No, and in the group queue.
Okay, yeah.
I don't touch the solo queue to save my life.
Solo queue is not bad, man. Just give it a try.
I try with the 4-man team, but I just never get there.
That's what I'm saying. Like I streamed this morning and I didn't want anybody in my group because I was like, I'm going to play solo because otherwise I will hit. Caffey was running with like 12 dudes this morning and I was like, I don't want to deal with that. No group. So what was I gonna say?
Well, I think one thing to point out is I believe the Lords yesterday alone, what was it, 75-0? Was it? I'll find a post.
Yeah,
that's not like an
well.
acceptable statistic. You don't get to be like, oh, it's 35-0. That's like being like, oh, did you hear? I went hunting today. I went to a cage that had 75 deer in it, and I shot all of them. I didn't miss a single shot, guys. I'm 75-0 for hitting shots on deer hunting. Like, I'm really good.
No, that's exactly the problem, though. Is the matchmaker created a cage that caught the deer for the Lords to walk over and shoot.
So here's what I'm saying. Like, we all remember, we used to call them all-star matches. We'd have 3 4-mans on one team, 3 4-mans on the other team. Everybody knew what was going on. Do you think that with a huge elo tightening, just for group queue, mind you, I think that pub queue could still be as loose as it is now. It hasn't been too bad. The games I've played, they've been fairly close. I haven't seen too many 12-0s. So if we got strict elo tightening for group queue, do you guys think that would help fix the problem?
I feel like the ideal at this point, because before this patch, I would spend more time searching for a match than I would actually playing one. I feel the ideal is to like cut the search time to a point where it's like the even amount at least to what you're going to play. So I don't know. We have to remember that like the House of Lords and SJR or people who are running 12 mans and or whatever in the public queue, teams like that who are organized and even if they're joking around, have some sense of competition and seriousness. We're the outlier teams. I think I don't think there are too many other people doing that at the moment. So it's maybe a few teams here or there, but I think we've only really come across a couple, maybe 3 or 4 actual 12-man teams in the queue in the past 2 days over a course of 75, 80 games where we won. So it's I don't know. There's a weird balance that has to be found in between the amount of time you're waiting. So that has to do with how tight or loose the ELO restrictions are.
I think you should have an option to pick whether you want fast matches or good ones. Because honestly, if I have to wait half an hour to play like a really solid match against good players, I'd rather do that once every half hour than play 100 pubs in the same time. It's just it's a waste of time.
What game has that? Oh, fucking Heroes of Newerth. My
Yes,
random MOBA experience finally comes into play. Heroes of Newerth has a slider that is fast match or good match, and I think that would be a good idea. But honestly, I think that the games are going to be closer as long as in the group queue, as long as you tighten ELO. Because if you tighten ELO, that means that you're getting more 4-mans of experienced players versus a 12-man. And I mean, granted, you're probably not going to win, but the games aren't going to be like, welp, nobody got any kills at all, it was just a 12-0. It's going to be closer. It's going to be like 6-12, which, while not as close as we'd like it to be, is still favorable to a complete roll. At least you're getting a fight out of it, you know?
Well, here's a question for Heim. Before, when it was just 4s, what was your normal win-loss on a night?
Definitely was not undefeated. I could guarantee that. If I had to say randomly, we'd lose 1 every 6 maybe, and that's because we had a lance of pugs who would just go out into some random coordinate on Alpine, and it's either you join them in this random coordinate in the completely open area where your whole team will die anyway, or you can try and take an advantageous position and win with what you have. So when you have this many people in a group, you don't have that issue really. So I think teamwork is OP. That is what I've learned.
And of those ones you lost, were the other teams random assortments of pugs, or were they people you knew?
Occasionally we had, I know Twinkie, Overlord, and Aurora. I think they were the only 2 SWK people a couple matches, so it's been generally a mix. Like I said, we've only seen actual 12-man groups, I think, 3 or 4 times. And
well, I mean, like, before the patch, when you're playing 4s.
Oh, so, yeah.
Heimdallite's thought process intensifies.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought really quick. Sorry about that.
No, that's all good. You
can
ran
jump
home.
in, because at least in our experience, when we were going with like Jaeger's 4s and stuff, when we lost, it was to people we knew, like Lords or other SJR people, or like you guys here in
Say it!
Northstar.
Say it, Siri!
Or like SiG.
Don't say it.
Fuck off!
Yes.
And
we're like the bastard redhead child that nobody ever brings up. I have no idea why.
So hard.
Now that
Trolling aside, people we knew and recognized on the other team was one of the criteria for a loss. And by expanding the group size, just naturally, half those people are now on our team.
Yeah, because nobody that's playing in a group wants to just play in a 4-man anymore. Like, I was going to play in a 4-man, and then I was like, why would I play in a 4-man? And I went through my friends list, and I invited everybody I knew. And everybody jumped up from whatever channel they were in TS, and we played a 10-man. Like, oh, well, we just don't lose now. That's really fun. But, like, I feel dirty doing that.
Yeah, there was a point in the night where Schopenhauer even said, do you guys feel like we're accomplishing anything other than stat padding, or we could do 6v6s and try and like better ourselves? It was.
And so,
I don't know.
do you know, like, have you run into any other 12-mans while doing the group queue?
Yeah, like I said, we've run into like 3 or 4 12-mans, but I expected that to happen a lot more often, to be honest. Like, we would match with one, and then we wouldn't match with one, like, right afterwards, which I thought was kind of weird. And they didn't break up or anything, so it's kind of odd.
Yeah, I just feel like one thing that I like is that you can play with 12 men, and you can get practice in, and you can earn C-bills. Because that was a problem before. It was like, you could hit the queue, and you could hit the queue for 4 hours and maybe get 5 to 8 games, and that was how you were like earning C-bills during practice. Otherwise, it was private queue, and then you're spending C-bills to practice. You're actually, and like this is kind of a gripe because we're the competitive community and we should be above all this, blah blah blah. But actually having to spend C-bills to play in a private match to drop RRD is kind of stupid. That's how I feel about it. So.
But the question, Pine brought up a good point. If you're grabbing 10, 12 people, is it still practice? Or are you just, like, to me, when I play it, it literally feels like social hour.
It
like
really
I said,
is.
like,
Yeah,
Wissi
totally is.
was in a dragon.
Yeah. I completely agree it is. But so that's where I think that the ELO tightening comes in. If you tighten ELO and tighten matchmaking restrictions, meaning that if you're in a 12-man, you have to have at least like an 8-man on the other team to play against them. I think that would make it closer.
And that's where we go to my point, where is it going to find those people? They're on our team.
Yeah, I agree with Siri, because the first time I started playing, I dropped in my normal 4-man, and we hit the queue, and I think it was a bunch of SJR and a couple Lords, and they were all doing like a 6 to 8-man crew or something. And they repeatedly we hit them like 2 or 3 times, but we always ended up with either like 3 4-mans or like an 8-man of this random like Ghost Bear team that had no idea what was going on.
Damn.
I ran into that team. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And like I'm sitting there and I'm like, does anyone else feel that like we got fucked here? Like I just like straight up I'm like, if this is what it's gonna be like, I'm making an 8-man. Like straight up, I'm like, this is dumb.
Honestly, but that's the thing though. So if they bring in ELO tightening, then you're gonna run into each other more because I don't think the ELO is tight enough right now. So that
because they
running
had
into
the
large
only
groups.
good players beside they had SJR and Lords there. The only way we could have gotten anything was if we went down and we're like, hey Swax, how about we make an 8-man? And like then made like a 2-2-8 Swax. I mean, that's the only way that would have happened. There were no other major teams playing because they were all in that 8-man.
Yeah, I think during
it was
prime
like
time
3 in the morning.
Yeah. So I think during prime time it won't be a problem. During the rest of the day, it's totally a problem.
Even during prime time, dude, pubbing's just a waste of time right now. Like, I know the SiG guys, like, I would always be like, hey, let's go play, 8 o'clock at night, hope we catch Jaeger, maybe get some, decent games in. Now it's like, why the fuck bother?
Yeah.
I mean, we did it, like, today. I mean, it was like, hey, every 2-2-8 player that's going to be, playing this game, we're going to get in a group, and we're not going to lose. And it pretty much, like, I think we ran into Lords once, and we had a really good match, and, like, there were a couple other matches, and some of them were kind of close. Like, we lost a few players, but, like, that was it. And, like, it was everyone in 2-2-8. Like, we didn't care who you were.
Here's one for you. If, in order to get a good match, you needed an equal number, and that 12s make the power balance so imbalanced, why the fuck didn't we just leave it as 12's queue and then 4 smaller queue?
Correct.
Well,
And
have you guys seen...
to agree with you, Siri, I actually posted on Reddit the exact thing you just said. And I'm getting negative votes for it for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
So here's what I would say. Last week, Jaeger mentioned something that I had never thought about before, which is you're talking about the AC2 nerf. And we're like, why the fuck did the AC2 get nerfed? Like, it doesn't make any sense. And he's like, well, it was a huge problem in... Holy shit, Vils? I haven't seen Vils in ages. He's in chat. Hi, Vils.
That can't be Vils.
No, dude. Lord underscore Vils, man.
I'm pretty sure that's Atkinson. Isn't Atkinson the one with the underscore?
Oh, shit, is he? I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Fuck! I was excited. I missed Vils, man.
Get trolled on, son.
Shit!
The only way to confirm is to invite him into TeamSpeak. That's the show.
There we go, man.
Please no.
Is that a good idea? Yeah.
Not really.
Even Heim's like, I'm not sure that's a good idea.
Dude, Vils
Oh,
is pretty well behaved around me for some reason.
No, he's a sensible guy.
Yeah, he's pretty good. So he pointed out that, you know, like the AC2 got nerfed, like I was talking to whoever about this. AC2 got nerfed because it was a huge problem in lower elo brackets. And have you guys seen Twitter? Have you guys seen like Reddit? Everybody is fucking ecstatic about the new matchmaker. They're like, I get to drop with my whole unit, like hell yeah. We're not ecstatic because it means like if we're in a 4-man, we're hitting the other 12-man of competitive players, and we're like totally fucked. Shit. Guess we're boned. But there are so many other players that don't have anything to do with that like level of play, and so they're super excited because now it's I don't have to turn down that 5th man. I can play with 8 players. I can play with 9 players. I can play with all of my friends at once. I can have that casual social hour, which is what people want. But for us, pain in the ass.
See,
Like, so you see the problem, right?
The thing about that, though, is when I look at this, half the praise I see is it's a lot of fun to play with my group. Could you not do that with a full 12 people? What was stopping you from getting 12 before?
It's the fact that you had to get exactly 12. That 12 is a lot of people for some units, especially 12 people that you like want to play with. Everybody has like a few people in their unit that are like, I don't really want to play with so-and-so, like stuff like that. Nobody ever wants to play with Siri. Like that's why he has to go play with Lords. Like nobody in SGR likes him.
I'm pretty sure nobody in 228th wants to play with you either. So
no, dude, it's completely true, man. Nobody plays with me. I play by myself.
We don't play with.
No, but but that is a thing. Like there is. It's totally reasonable not to have 12 people always available at all times. And what were they getting when they hit the 12-man queue?
Nobody, because there was no reason to do the 12-man queue.
Right, because if they were playing, they were getting Templars or whatever team was practicing that night. And if a team was practicing that night, it was, you know, Dragon Slayers, Cataphracts, Shadowhawks, Jenners, everybody has ARRD. Because fuck it if we're going to lose in the queue.
Okay. Now, is it worth compromising the integrity of the entire like group system for allowing that? Would they, if you incentivize the old 12s queue so people, it was actually healthy and active, would that be a good thing instead of what we have now?
What if you made like basically 2 separate queues where you call one like the public queue and one the ranked queue, and basically the ranked queue is where all the competitive players could go, and then the public queue is, you know, you can have, you know, 1 to 12, whatever, however many, and then the ranked queue would either be 1 to 4 or 12. So this way it'd be easier to manage.
I think they should. I think it should just be split. Like, oh, no, you can't do that because then, shit.
Well, what I said was, and this was after I was out drinking all night, so you know. And an initial
his original post was 3 pages. He told me before the show.
Yeah, I originally made a 3-page post. I was so mad about the system, and then I'm like, man, this is really TLDR, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna make it a page and a half, and then I still added a TLDR at the end. But I said there should be 3 queues.
Of course, nobody's gonna read up a page and a half on Reddit.
Yeah, so I said there should be 3 queues, and you can enter in based on a group composition, any or all of them. So if you're dropping solo, you can only hit a solo queue, which I labeled.
Stop looking at your post. Do it from memory.
Okay, so I think I called it like the single queue, which was basically like there's going to be either a single team or you're dropping solo ones. Everything's kind of based around ones, and done. Now, if you're in a 4-man, you can drop in that one. You can drop into the what is it, the 4-man queue or something like that, and that one is only 4-mans. It's 3 4-mans against 3 4-mans. Done. And then there's also the team queue, which is basically any number up to 12 as long as you're in a team. So 2 to 12. And obviously odd numbers like, 11, you can't do. And if you're in a 4-man, you can sign up for all 3. And if you're in a 5-man, you only get the 1. And if you're in, solo, you only get the 1. And it basically, at that point, it allows the players to basically choose how hard they want to do the team play OP. Because, we all know that the more organized you are, the higher your chance of winning. And in my mind, that was going to be the major basis for winning in every single match in this new system, is how many people are on comms.
Well, that's why they need VoIP in this game. It's so ridiculous that we don't have it.
Okay.
But even if they do, how many times, you're going to get the people that are like, who the fuck are you? Fuck you. I'm not listening to you.
Dude, I get that shit all the time because I have a number at the end of my name.
Yeah, like, who's this random waffle?
Yeah, like, I literally had somebody go ask, who was it? It was the AS guys. I was in a game with the AS kids, and my favorite thing to say, pick this up from Atkinson, is when somebody is being a complete idiot and they question something I'm saying to them, you just ask them, who are you, kid? It's my favorite thing in the whole fucking world, dude. Makes people, like, irrationally mad, like when you stick in somebody's blind spot while you're driving. And this guy was like, oh, some random dude with numbers, some number kid is giving me, like, telling me what to do. And the AS guys were like, you actually have no idea what's going on, do you? I was like, I love you guys, thank you so much. But so, like, all I was gonna say is that we could go on with this matchmaker for 100 hours talking ideas, especially Versinix, because he writes rules for things and he loves to talk. So what we're gonna do is we're each gonna
move
go
on
around.
to discuss the solo queue.
No. Fuck off! We're gonna move on to jump jets. Damn it!
Nope.
If you could make one change, like in your mind, how would you change the queue to make it work right now? And each of us is gonna share our ideas, and then we're gonna move on. My idea is I think that you need to severely tighten ELO for group queues. There. Simple. Siri.
Pass. Come back.
Okay, start at the bottom, because I know you have something prepared. Versinix.
I'm going to leave the one I would say for Haim, because I'm pretty sure he already said his. I think I would have to say... I don't know, there's just so many fucking intricate things that need to be changed. I think it really comes down to the fact of not just the ELO, but we're almost hitting the territory of ELO gap, or the skill levels of the pilots. And I don't think that's really something that they can fix, because that's completely a variable that's not controllable, but it's a major problem in this new system.
How did Sun Cobra get into the channel?
Nice job,
I
Raffle.
have no idea. That's why I
He
was
guessed
looking
it.
at that.
He guessed
I
it
was
like 2 months
oh my
ago,
God.
Raffle.
Change the password, please.
What
That's
the?
so funny. Oh my
To be
God.
fair, the
funny.
password is really fucking simple.
He almost bombed the war room. He could have started talking and everything.
Should have.
He guessed it like 2 months ago. He's trolled us like that before, if you forgot. You're probably too drunk that night.
Probably. Dude, Well, way to go, Sun Cobra. That was really impressive. I'm proud of you. Good job. It is the dumbest password ever. It's so... Wait, actually... Since I'm going to change it anyways, what is the password to this channel? I have server admin. I don't remember anymore. Is it the one with the number at the end?
I don't even know. I never had to join it.
I have no idea. It's 8 characters, though.
Not anymore, it isn't. I already changed it, so...
Oh.
Anyways, getting back on track. Please.
Fall damage?
I
still
said that it was
changes.
population and overall community skill gaps.
There,
Oh,
password
yeah.
channel. The channel password is different now. The old password was warroom49 because I'm unimaginative as fuck.
Wow.
Actually, I think Deadfire set up the original password, but
That's pretty funny. Speaking of the Q population, though, I have been reading things because I don't like to respond to everyone, but I do like to read, and there are a lot of people who are really happy with the changes because for example, when we play 75 matches, even if it's wins or whatever, I swear to God, we only saw the same names a few times, and I have never been more confident in the game's population. I just have never seen that many different people before, people I've never seen. So, maybe it's a population thing. I also think we're kind of, like I said before, we are kind of outliers. Like, competitive, organized play in general gives you that mindset where you're not basically ignorant to how to play the game, or you don't know how to play it. You obviously know how to play it, and you're trying to use it to your advantage at all times because there's incentives to winning. So if you're naturally a competitive team, I just don't think there are that many that would constitute us not being an outlier. We are definitely an outlier. So the matchmaker may be doing well for the other whatever percentage, 80%, but for the 20%.
Come on, say 99. Make us the
It's-
1%.
I think it literally is like the 1%. I mean, it's like what? I mean, if we're being generous, like 300, 400 competitive players in MWO.
That's generous.
Yeah, that's
I think
generous
that's
too.
generous. Well,
American Civil War has a lot of people technically between the 18 teams total in Arhad, right?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
the big problem is like, like you're saying, the huge skill gap. A player that decides to play competitive, it's like 6 months before he's a decent player. Whereas somebody who's basically only pubs, like, I mean, you'll occasionally meet a super good pub-only player, but it's pretty rare.
Well, I mean, for 228 especially, like, we get people that apply or come in and say hi to us all the time, and, it's like, no offense, bro, but you've never played a competitive match in your entire life? We won't use you. No offense. Go to these other units. They can use people. They're great guys, that they're willing to take the time to train you. Go and get some experience. You're going to have a way better time. You're going to enjoy yourself way more over there. And it's kind of an asshole move on our part, but we want to see them enjoying the game, and we know they're not going to get the field time in our team.
Yeah, and I mean, you don't want to throw them into the fire. Like, first game,
yeah.
let's go play Lords.
Hey,
Okay,
yeah,
guys.
the Invitational, time to play Lords, assholes. Let's go.
Oh. Are we still going through the changes we'd make?
Go ahead.
yeah, I think Haim
think it's
and then
series.
Lego and then you.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Haim said his.
Yeah, I don't need to go anymore. I talked to them.
I think I talked enough too. Let's just pass it to Siri because I think we all want to know what he has to say.
Okay.
Options to join that queue was one of them that I expected one of the two people to say. I
My
expected
option.
either Lego or Haim to say that.
My option is the fucking nuclear option. Revert the fucking group change. Keep the solo queue, but groups only go up to 4. Yes, it's nice that you can play with all those other people who are your friends. However, in doing so, you are directly spoiling the other team's experience just because the game scales so poorly, or rather so well, with additional coordinated people.
I'll /sign that, thanks. I'll take that one.
Okay.
The game, like, Matchmaker was close, if 4x3 worked with the old system, to being pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's be honest here.
I do think
This
if we
change,
had
though,
weight
is
class-
just off the deep end.
Yeah, I think if we had weight class with the previous matchmaker, it probably would have been okay. The biggest issue was you run into Lords and you're playing your fucking Adder or whatever, and it's like, well, see ya guys, I'm dead.
Timberwolf.
Yeah. Oh, occasionally a Dragon Slayer, because you can only put 3 fucking medium,
Yeah.
or 3 heavies in.
Those are fun matches, though.
All right.
That
so
being said,
now that we've
the
finished
solo
that,
queue is really fucking good.
the solo queue is
and-
great.
Like we did not get a chance to discuss it, but it is. It's just the group queue that is kind of fucked.
Well, so the solo queue really doesn't affect the competitive community, which is why I didn't want to make it a part of the show, etc., etc. But we have finally finished matchmaking, which means we can move on to our last topic of the night, which is jump jet fall damage, which probably will take us another hour and a half. So stick with us. It shouldn't take that long. So jump jet fall damage was implemented, which I personally think is a terrific mechanic. I'm sure everybody else is going to be like, Raffle, you're dumb as shit. What the fuck is going on? But I really like it. So the way it's implemented was that the damage for light mechs equals internal structure health times 1.9 times 0.04. The internal structure times 1.9 is the same for all mechs, whereas the multiplier changes for lights and assaults. It's 0.04. For heavy mechs, it's 0.035, and for medium mechs, it's 0.03.
Why is it the same for lights as it is assault? That makes absolutely no sense.
No fucking idea. It should be like 0.01 for lights.
If
they made it like
minuscule.
0.01 for lights, it would be absolutely perfect. Well, okay, so that's not true. My personal opinion, so like the couple of random questions I have is then like how has it affected your playstyle, and then what changes would you make? Personally, I think that I really like the mechanic. It hasn't affected my playstyle that much. The first thing I did when I patched was I went into despite my lovely story about the 12 SKU, it wasn't the first thing I did. I went into testing grounds and I took my Dragon Slayer on Alpine and I jumped it off mountains. And so at negative 140 feet per second, you take I think it was 6% damage, where at negative 70 feet per second, you still take 4% damage. So there's a diminishing returns to the damage, which I don't like that much. First of all, I think it should, if you jump off that top peak and you don't feather your jump jets at all, you should fucking die. There's no piece of metal on the planet that can survive that fall. You should just be dead. Like I don't care. Like punish bad players, but so I think, I think that it should scale based on a force equation. So I think you should take weight and speed and then add in like your velocity vector, and then that should create a number that then you then add, like, you know, multiply that by the damage modifier, and that should be how damage is done. But I think that the idea itself is really good, because if you're not being careful jump sniping, you will kill yourself in less than 20 jumps. So
and that's where I think the Cataphract, actually, the 3D, might kind of make a comeback if the Timberwolf wasn't like the best mech in the game, because you have shallow, high-mounted energy hardpoints for your PPCs, and you basically can take shallow jumps without needing, you know, an excessive amount of jump jets or, you know, hurting your legs. And that also means if the heat comes in later on, you're not going to be generating that much heat. So, like I think everyone kind of saw coming for a long time, the Cataphract is the ideal de facto jump sniper. And I think it's supposed to have those qualities, whereas if you take an assault, you should probably be taking leg damage when you fall like that. But didn't they say in the post originally with the fall damage that it would scale from light to heavy? So do you guys think that basically what happened was the scaling they did for the lights and the mediums maybe it's just a little bit too much, right? For the heavies and assaults, does it feel okay?
Honestly, well, I think we'll see a change in this next patch. I think we'll see that lights get a large damage reduction because they are the ones that currently suffer the most from it.
Big time. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
make sense
sniping at all. Like, I haven't really noticed it. Eventually, you might accidentally leg yourself if you're really, really careless, but I haven't had that happen.
And the point that you get to that point, you'll be paying more attention to your legs, and therefore you won't get careless.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think I really like the mechanic. Personally, I'm excited to see. They said that they're waiting to release Jump Jet Heat until they can release the Impulse Change at the same time. I think Nico made a post about that. And I think that's a terrific idea, because I think that making players relearn a mechanic twice in, you know, a matter of a month is pretty silly. So I'm glad that they're doing that. I think it shows really good foresight. But I think that this damage change isn't going to be fully realized until we see that impulse change, because right now, the way impulse works, you hit your jets, and if you hold them for just a little bit, and then you drop down without feathering, you get to that negative 30 feet per second really quick, because of how large that initial impulse is. So I think that the other jump jet change will also affect this.
The threshold I'd like to see, the threshold is right now really friggin' small. Like, a second is nothing in terms of distance to fall. 30 feet per second.
It's
because it's half that in actual distance.
I did the math. It's like a quarter usage of jump jets on a Dragon Slayer using only one jump jet to get and you still don't take the fall damage.
Can I throw math at you? I'm going to throw math at you.
Go ahead. I mean, I just tested it, testing grounds. I mean, I know you. I'm sure. As soon as the patch came out, you loaded up your client, you got out your notepad and your calculator.
No, I'm literally throwing physics at you. It's 1 second's worth of falling, which is 30 feet per second.
Right.
But the actual distance you're covering is half that, 15 feet.
Because it's the acceleration, right?
Right. It's 1/2 AT squared, t equals 1, so it's just half a.
Yep.
15 feet is nothing, and that's 1 damage to a light. And lights didn't need any nerfs, so even just any little bit, say you take 2 points of damage in a game, which is, you're going to be taking way more than that from fall damage. That's a nerf.
I don't know if I'd say 15 feet is nothing, but...
I
would
imagine,
like, dropping a car 15 feet and break the suspension, at least.
Well, it's like Raffle standing on my shoulders, almost. That's pretty much nothing.
These are giant pieces of metal 1,000 years into the future. They should be able to handle 15 feet, even if they're 35 tons.
And they're
okay? So here's what we're gonna do.
Than 600 meters per second.
We're going to bring in my favorite argument of all time. So we talk about realism in the BattleTech universe.
Let's do it.
How much does a cataphract weigh?
Bills.
How much does a cataphract weigh?
70 tons.
Do you know how much an Abrams tank weighs?
65 or 60? Something like that?
It's 69 tons.
Ah, right about.
So, there's your logic. Abrams tank weighs the same as a cataphract, which is supposed to be, like, really fucking tall, have giant thrusters on it, and be made of, you know, carbotanium. Like, logic is dumb in this game. You just have to assume that everything is based off of this imaginary rule set. And granted, I love physics. Physics is terrific, but it doesn't have a place here.
Right, and that's why I'm arguing. In this imaginary rule set, 15 feet is fucking nothing. If you look around the map.
It's smaller. It's larger than the old gap used to be. Lights could take damage from jumping over rock, like little pebbles before.
Right, and it did .01.
Oh, was that what the damage was?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Literally nothing. So it's at least 10 times more, now 100 times more maybe, damage than we were taking before, at minimum. For 50.
Did you know an Atlas should float in water?
And ignoring Lego's thing aside, the max velocity which you take damage at, beyond which it starts dropping off, 65 or 70 feet per second. So your max damage is after only like 2, maybe 2.5 seconds of falling.
No, I don't think so. It takes a lot longer than that to reach 75. The testing
it's an acceleration.
Right, so the testing I did on Training Grounds, to get to negative 75, you know the hill right by the 2 main points in Alpine. I forget what it is. Is it the I-6? The I-6 hill? The one right by the conquest points? I don't remember off the top of my head. But anyway, that point, if you jump off that hill, full jump jets off a Dragon Slayer, and you don't feather your jump jets, that gets you to almost exactly 75 feet per second when you hit the ground.
Yeah, it's going to be...
The point I'm making is that...
I was talking velocity, not actually height, that second bit. but 70 feet per second is the same damage as if you were at like 150 or 200 feet per second, which is what you get jumping off I-9.
Right.
On
So you're saying that you think it should be like negative 40 feet per second or negative like 50 feet per second for that damage threshold. So how would you feel about...
I'm saying the threshold should start later at about like 40, 45 feet per second
and ramp
for
up
minimum
harder.
damage, and ramp up over a greater velocity. So instead of capping at 70, capping at, say, 100, 110.
I agree with that. So here's the thing. Do you do that... do you scale that for different mech types? So would you make assaults have a higher or lower damage threshold than light mechs?
Lower.
So assaults would be like negative 30, light mechs be negative 45, mediums negative 40, heavies negative 35?
Yeah. I'd be okay with that.
Okay. I agree. I actually completely agree. I think that would be a great way to change it. I was just trying to clarify for everybody. Anybody else have anything they want to say about jump jets?
Have we mentioned how non-jump jet lights are hurt more than jump jet lights?
Oh my god, I ran a fucking commando. It was brutal.
Yeah, I know Nanner likes to run the Adder, and he's like, dude, it's impossible to run non-jump jet mechs because you can't even feather on your way down now. You jump off the wrong hill and there goes half your leg armor.
Yeah, that was brutal. Part of my point, pointing out like how small a drop triggers the damage.
Well, that was just the thing. Like when the test server was up, I'm like sitting there, I'm running around in my one jump jet Jenner, and I just mash my jump jets and drop, running on a straight line across a straight field, no dips or anything. And I was taking leg damage, and I'm like, one jump jet running in a straight line, I'm taking damage from the fall. The fuck? Like that, it just didn't make sense to me that I could take damage from a one jump jet jump in a Jenner across a flat plane.
Well, that's kind of okay. It's like when you're running a Raven, or like a Commando, and you hit a bump, and you go flying for a bit, not that much, and then bam, your legs are done.
Why isn't anyone using the shock absorption modules, guys?
I am, but it's only 35% reduction.
Yeah, I know. It's not even good enough to combat how bad it is for the non-jump jet lights immediately.
Oh, interesting story. In a pub, I think either on the test server or since the patch, I saw a Centurion leg itself and die from an ammo explosion because it had ammo in its legs when it
That is awesome.
I got into a game where it was like we were like 11-3, and I was sitting in the middle in a Timberwolf, or no, I was in my Dragon Slayer, and I was like, fuck it, I don't want to go anywhere. So I just stood in the middle, and I looked at Direwolf dead in the eyes, and I jumped up and down until I blew off one of my legs.
I blew myself up in testing with the ammo explosions. Yes, I can confirm it happens.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, I like the fall damage mechanic, though. It adds more realism, because a mech should not be able to jump off the I-9 hill on Alpine and survive. So here we go. That's what will start the metric. Negative 140 feet per second kills you in every mech, no matter what. There we go. And we'll work down from there. Perfect.
Well, I don't want to go to the extent that it kills you straight
yes!
up.
It
kills. Well, the I-9, but then the map design on I-9 Hill is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You can feather your jump jets on the way down.
Design in the game.
You can feather your jump jets on the way down.
Like you're surfing on
you said
Counter-Strike
to
maps.
the Atlas.
I don't think
Why are you
Atlas can
jumping
actually
off
jump.
of I-9 in an Atlas?
Because the enemy is routing you.
So you know the problem we've been talking about with I-9, where it's like this really, really incredible position, and if you get up there, you're really good, and even if your opponent charges you, you can drop down and then target them as they fall down. What if you get up on I-9 and now you can't fucking drop down, because if you drop down, you take 80% leg damage. Like, that's a huge balance improvement.
The jump jet mechs are jumping off like, fuck this, we're cool. And then the other guys are just like, we can't do anything, we can't follow.
I don't know. I think that there should be punishments for playing poorly and jumping off of I-9 with no jump jets from that tippy-toppy peak, which is the only way you can get the negative 40, or negative 140 as far as I can tell. should fucking kill you, man.
Actually, speaking of I-9, right now, if you slide off I-9, because there are points where you'll regain traction just for a second, it'll repeatedly do leg damage on the way down.
Yes.
So you're better off jumping the entire thing than sliding.
Yep, it's true. Because you reach about like -40, and you do that like 5 or 6 times, as opposed to reaching -141 time, and then taking one like hit of damage. Okay.
Yeah. In general, I approve of the mechanic. I disagree with current implementation as being not totally sensible.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I agree.
So the overall concept that we have kind of come to is that this entire patch, great ideas being implemented, but the balance is fucked.
I think the only things that anybody had problems with were the group queue and matchmaking, and the exact numbers in jump jets. I don't think we should write this off as like a huge fuck up. This is a pretty good patch.
Oh, no,
like,
not
there's a
even close.
lot of great stuff. The 3x3 was awesome, stuff like that. So
no,
overall,
this
great.
is bar none not a folly on their part as a whole comparative to other events.
Okay, and so to close out the show, since I think we've finished with jump jets, we're gonna drag Vils down here, and he's gonna ask you guys some of Sace's questions.
Oh yes.
This is gonna be the favorite part of the show.
Vils, buddy.
I'm down.
You hear?
Hey, hey.
Oh shit!
Oh,
Oh man.
Good to hear you.
Excuse me.
Welcome back to the
guys.
Mercstar TS. Glad to have you back.
Oh, it's been a while. Hey.
I understand that I fed you some questions for 3 of our guests.
Oh yeah. One sec. Okay.
He probably rewrote
I have 3 questions to ask. Apparently, the first one goes out to Siri. Siri, are you there, mate? You there, Siri?
Hey, Vils. Long time no see.
Hey.
I missed your dulcet tones.
Oh, really?
Not really.
Anyway, the question goes: the rumor is true. Mag, us, an emotionless robot that Siri pieced together out of old toaster parts.
Oh wow.
Yes and no. He is a robot. I did not assemble him.
Made from toaster parts?
Yeah, I think we all want to know, is he made from toaster parts?
Little cat pacemakers, actually.
Siri is not at liberty to display what Mag is actually made out of.
Where is Mag? I haven't seen him in a while.
Give me a moment, I'm getting you a picture of him.
I've seen Magician before, the handsome gentleman.
In the interim, I'll tell you a quick story. So Jaeger's cam freezes whenever he's on the show for some reason, and it's always when I'm giving a long, drawn-out speech about what I think should be done with balance. And I really respect Jaeger's opinion. He's got like a lot of great ideas, and it always freezes on his like super judgmental face, because that's just like how his face is when he's resting. He's like very attentive, but he looks like he's just judging what I'm saying. So his camera freezes, and I'm like, oh my god, Jaeger just hates everything I'm saying. Like, this is clearly just a really stupid idea. I should stop talking. And then I just realized his camera is frozen.
Coincidence, I think not.
Who was it, Ruffle, that we had at the beginning of War Room when it was first getting started from BSK that did that?
Xander.
He had Xander, yeah. He had the most intense face.
Dude,
and like, if he was frowning, you were going off topic or saying something stupid. But if he was leaning back in his chair and smiling, you were right on track.
Dude. Yeah, Xander was key for that. He was like, am I saying something dumb? Xander's smiling. I'm good. Perfect. Alright, Bills, what's the next one?
Excuse me. Yeah, I was literally just going to get on to that. I have my next question, my second question of the 3, is for you, Han. Apparently, we need to know, what are your thoughts on leave-in conditioner?
Like, conditioner, the hair product?
I'm thinking so, yeah. What's your thoughts? Hit me.
I don't use conditioner. I just use shampoo.
How often?
Whenever I shower.
Oh, really? I like used
Question
to date a
stands.
hairdresser. Apparently, she said you shouldn't wash your hair too often. It like damages it. Takes all like the natural things out of your hair. Once every 3 days or so, I think. I think that's what she said. What would I know?
Oh no, I agree. I think that is actually better. Like, But
Okay. Well, thanks for that detailed, interesting answer. My third and
I
final
was
question.
enthusiastic.
Lego Pirate. Hello, Lego. How are you?
How you doing, Bills?
I'm quite well, thanks, mate. We need to know, where did you get your sick 1v1 skills, mate? I'm assuming they're referring to a certain Victor Mawson.
You know, it's just you try really hard, and one day you can beat up Victor Morrison, and I think it's really what everybody dreams to aspire to. It's beating Victor Morrison in some way, shape, or form.
I'm pretty sure he's just a trash bag.
When he's bringing lerms.
I'm gonna be honest. I aspire a little higher than that.
I was
My
gonna
dream-
say,
Aiming a bit high.
My dream.
You don't need
is-
to crush my dreams, Yuri.
No, Lego. Dream high. Dream about team killing Addy.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
yeah.
Addy,
Where's
Addy,
Devo?
you gotta go and watch the stream, Addy. Oh my god.
If I can TK Versinix, you can TK Addy. It'll happen.
There was a two-string game where I accidentally team killed Wispsy 2 games in a row, literally on accident, like I wasn't trying to. And for like 6 months, Wispsy hated my guts because of it.
He thinks you're lying.
I swear to God, he just runs in front of my fucking AC-20 and dies.
Yeah, who cares what Wispy thinks though? Like really, come on.
That's fair.
Oh, alright.
Tell
And
me
with
about
those...
the game. How is it? How's the game?
It's good, man. Are you still playing Star Citizen?
Sometimes I've been playing Rust with my Aussie mates a fair bit, and I've been playing this other game called Space Engineers. It's Trollsrific. You should check it out sometime. Holy crap!
I've heard
But
of it.
yeah, do they still have the invisible walls, mate? That's my biggest question. Are they still there?
Yes.
Yes.
Getting fixed slowly, but yeah, still there.
Oh yeah.
And there's still mech collisions where you just teleport everywhere whenever you rub against another mech. It looks like
think
the
it's
worst thing in the game.
I think it's latency dependent. Hey, like they did a patch. I remember before I got banned, maybe 4 months ago, I guess. They did like a change, and it used to be kind of bad, but there was one particular patch where when you'd like start brushing up against people, it would actually shoot you about 100 feet into the sky, and you can just like look around the whole map. And me and my Australian mate Fudu, we used to have it happen to us, but apparently not many other people. So I think it might have something to do with ping. Like really high latencies get it worse, I'm pretty certain.
I've actually had a couple problems with that lately, just on Terra Firma though, like bouncing through the map. But so we're rolling up on the point where I have to cut the show off, or else I have to split the video on YouTube into 2 separate halves. So we're going to go and do shoutouts quick, and then we can all catch up with Vils after the show. So starting with Versinix.
Shout out to Net Battletech MWO. It's being worked on quite heartily. We don't have a very large team doing all the developing and stuff, but a lot of really cool features, a lot of really cool new stuff for teams, and it's got a lot of stuff for competitive players and the casual teams out there. Everyone's going to have a spot and availability and something to do in it, and we're excited to get that into testing for everyone in the somewhat near future, and let them see what it's like.
All right, Heim.
I wanted to give a shout out to Vils, even though he's right here, for coming on the show and asking me
Hi.
about hair conditioner.
Yeah, I didn't choose that question.
It's important.
That was-
It's important
that
stuff.
was
man.
the highlight. Yeah. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Sun Cobra, the youngest Lord. He is 17 and he is really fucking good at the game.
Sun Cobra's
And he's
17?
also a pretty nice guy.
Wow.
And he's
Yeah.
actually, well, as trolly as he is, and yeah.
Man,
he's a
no,
pretty
he's
nice
my
guy and
favorite because
stuff.
he said he got into a game and said, "I'm walking on sunshine," and I just responded with, "You mean slithering?" It was one of the greatest exchanges I've ever had with anybody in a public game. So no, Sun Cobra's awesome.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool guy. But yeah, I thought he deserved a shout out. He's, for his age, he's very knowledgeable about the game, and he's pretty good. So just wanted to congratulate him for doing such a mature job in a video game.
Killer. All right, Lego, my man.
Alright, I got quite the list. First, shout out to Raffle for having me on so I could talk about the Invitational and get to plug that a little bit. Shout out to Mercstar for housing SiG, since I don't get to do these shout outs very often. Shout out to SiG for handling my copious amounts of salt. And finally, and most importantly, shout out to Victor Morrison, because honestly, everybody I meet in pubs, there's always one or two guys who's like, wow, I saw you beat up Victor Morrison, good job. And it is what it is. It's a cool feeling to be an internet celebrity, so.
All
Welcome
right.
to my world.
Apparently that's all it took.
And
That's all
Siri.
it takes is beating him.
I have 3 shoutouts. My first shoutout is to, well, I kind of have to give one to Savage Hero, the youngest SJR member, who acts younger than Sun Cobra, but isn't. We put them in a room together, and I swear to God, it was like spontaneous combustion. My second shoutout. Shit, what was my second shoutout? Oh yeah, my second shoutout is to the Remnant Invitational, and my third shoutout is to Canada Post
Dick.
for delivering this thing.
The slowest mail ever. Canada mailing systems suck.
Only because you're in the U.S.
Yeah,
but I'm
because
like,
we've got
states
freedom.
below. God damn it! Like,
How do you celebrate?
checking
How do
my
you celebrate
mailbox every
Canada?
day.
How do you celebrate Canada Day, Siri? Do you do some Canadian stuff? Because you know what we do for 4th of July? We blow shit up in the sky.
That's funny. We do the same thing.
GG close.
Oi,
Okay.
Vandalite,
That means that
how come you're not wearing your shirt for winning, mate? For winning your championship?
Wait, what?
you're
Didn't they give you a t-shirt for winning the tournament?
Yeah, check today because I wanted to wear it on War Room, but I went all the way over to my PO box or whatever, and it didn't come. So
Oh,
yeah, it's okay.
sorry.
all right. And then Vils, why don't you give some shout outs, man? You're on here. You're in the room. Give us a shout out.
I'd like to give a shout out to all the people that hate me and love me. Either way, either or. I'd like to give another shout out to the people that DDoS my TS. Appreciate that. Fuck, let me think. I don't know. A shout out to you, Roffle, for bringing me on, mate.
Glad to
Yeah,
have
that
you
was
a
back.
shout
That was pretty awesome.
All
I
right.
need to give a shout out to Homeless Bill for approving all of your goddamn posts.
Yeah, actually, thanks for that. Thank you, Homeless Bill, for allowing my vitriol to taint the internet and outreach HPG. Appreciate it. Much love.
Okay, that means it's my turn. Okay, so obligatory shout out to Kyle, Kyle with a smile, who I believe is our youngest competitive player in 228.
True.
God, ginger as fuck, that kid. So then my other shout-outs go to you guys. Thank you for being on tonight. Great guests. We had some great discussion. Huge shout-out to Bills for coming on, adding some much-needed comedy at the end of the show. Great to talk to him, as always. Thank you, everybody who contributed to the discussion as well. Thank you, everybody, for watching. As usual, follow me on Twitter and YouTube so that I'm actually posting things on Twitter for a reason, because right now there are like 9 people who pay attention to what I say. Those buttons are below the stream. Other than that, I'm in the process of organizing some show matches, which hopefully will be coming up in the future. They'll be taking place on weekends. They'll be streamed live. Just getting through some logistics right now. So keep an eye out for that, and some more casted matches. Going to try and get some of the SiG Invitational streamed with some good content. Other than that, thank you everybody for watching, and we will indeed be back next Thursday. I don't know what the topic is going to be about, and we'll have to brainstorm about that and come up with something good, but we will for sure. So with that, thanks again to everybody, and I'm going to close out the show. We will see you guys in a week's time. Thank you very much for coming. It's been a pleasure as always. See you guys.
Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
Online. Sensors online.
So worth it.
Weapons online. All systems nominal.